let's talk about love languages.
Yes, finally.
Right? I think it's the perfect time for us to really delve into what they are and how to, what are some examples of things that you can do?
Absolutely. Let's do it.
Right? So for me, one of my most important, or maybe not most important ones, but one of the important ones is quality time. So much needed, right? Like in a relationship or even a friendship, right? Like you want to be able to spend that quality time with each other. And what does that actually entail? Right?
Yeah, right.
Is it sitting next to each other on the couch and scrolling through TikTok?
Maybe.
Maybe. But also I think part of it for me, what qualifies as that is maybe we're actually having a conversation. Maybe we're looking at each other, right? Maybe we're doing some kind of activity. That doesn't necessarily mean we're looking at each other, but we're engaging in something together. A walk, right? It doesn't even have to be super complicated. So I think for me, quality time is very important.
Yeah, for sure. I would totally piggyback off of that as well. Quality time is right there up at the top. I think just so that the info's out there, there's 5 of them, right?
Yes.
5 love languages, which is quality time, acts of service,
Words of affirmation, physical
touch, and gift giving, right?
Yes.
So those are the 5. And I mean, I think I enjoy all of them. You know, it really depends on which relationships and what the situation calls for, I think. But truly, I would much rather prefer to spend time with my partner where we're connecting, where we're engaging, kind of like you said, versus him bringing me a gift and being like, here you go. Like, yes, okay,
Right.
that's cute.
Yeah.
But if I had to choose, it would definitely be, can we, spend time together? Can we have a meal together? Can we share about our day together? And then that is how I truly feel connected and loved, because there's that attention, there's that care, there's all of those things. And I think within that quality time, there's other ones that can apply, right? Like the physical touch is also huge. I love hugs. I'll give anybody hugs unless they tell me that they're strictly not
Right.
interested,
Yeah, and like you said, these 5 can coexist at the same time in the same sort of activity or whatever it is that you're doing, right? Like quality time, like maybe part of that is acts of service of cooking somebody a meal or maybe cooking something together,
Right.
right? Like or maybe like praising somebody, man, I really love your cooking.
Yeah,
right. Like words of affirmation, right? Like you're telling somebody what's important to you, but also like what you appreciate about them.
Absolutely.
Right? Maybe gift giving can't really be applied to this, but maybe it can, I guess, right? Maybe you're gifting somebody an experience
Oh, yeah.
of
true.
eating
I
your
didn't even
food, right? Hey.
That's funny. I mean, I think about when I think about gift giving, to me, it's not like, okay, how expensive is it or anything. I think I truly appreciate gift giving when it is really intentional. I've been wanting something, or that
You've mentioned something in passing.
And then so it's sort of like you realize this person listened, right? So it kind of comes back to that quality time, because it's like, okay, not only did we spend time together, but you truly listened to what I said, and you took that and internalized it and said, oh, she would really enjoy this. It's not, here's a gift, the gift itself. It's, I'm thinking about you.
Right.
I thought about what you said. I heard what you said. And then now I want to basically make you happy by following up with something that we've talked about,
Right, exactly. And it makes things just as important, right? It's not just about quality time, but it's also just like, you care about me.
Right. It's not just a gift. Oh, here's a necklace.
Or a gift. Yeah, exactly.
Which technically I don't really wear necklaces outside of the one that I have on all the time. It's like it lives on my body.
So that doesn't really even matter.
So it's like, oh, it's cute, but how often am I actually going to use it? Versus like, I don't need the gifts to be often, but every once in a while, if you see something that then you've, noticed, that's the thing behind the gift, I think, for me. And I'm sure some other people love to get spoiled, and that fills their cup and they're happy with that, and that's cool. But I'm strictly speaking in terms of my perspective,
Right, exactly. Like we're not just speaking of like, these are the more important love languages. Everybody has their own love language, and it's just being able to identify that and express that to the other person. Like if you're in a relationship or a friendship or whatever that may be, they're not a psychic.
Right.
They don't know right off the
Exactly.
bat that you like gifts or that you like physical
Physical touch.
touch, that's really, really important to you, right? Like maybe in previous relationships or even for them, their love language is gift giving, let's say. But for you, it's like, I could take it or leave it. I don't really care about that. But what I care about is quality time or physical touch or whatever, or a combination of the two, right? But they don't know what's important to you unless you tell them.
And good point, right? Because with that, it means that just because you receive love in a certain way doesn't mean your partner's going to feel the same way, or whoever it is that you're kind of having that interaction with.
Right.
So it's also important to not only know your own so you can communicate it, but also watch and observe and ask, hey,
Ask,
how do
yes.
you love to be loved? What's your favorite way? I'm not just going to assume you love what I love.
Right.
I have to find out and then in turn accommodate, right? Realize like, wow, this is really important to you. This is not my favorite way, but I know it's important to you. And therefore that's what's going to fill your cup. That's what's going to make you feel loved. So I have to really focus on that. For example, words of affirmation. It's not going to kill me to implement that. If let's say my husband says, yeah, words of affirmation are my thing. Guess what I'm going to do? Because I want him to be happy and I love him, then I will make sure that I'm spending more time doing that, even if it's not natural to me.
Right, exactly. And that's part of it is like that adjustment. You listen to the other person and let's say they tell you or you ask them what that love language is for them and then they tell you and then you implement that, right?
Right, exactly.
It may not come naturally to you, maybe because you don't really hold that to that high of a regard for yourself, but you are paying attention to the other person and saying, okay, if this is important to them, then that's what I'm going to try to implement.
Right, exactly.
Because I want to make them happy, because I want them to be
loved.
satisfied in this relationship, right? Feel loved
Absolutely.
in the way that they want to receive it.
Right. And that's kind of bottom line is take the time to really maybe even look into all 5 of them and really decipher for yourself like, wow, I don't actually know how I'm okay with whatever I get and that's cool, but perhaps you enjoy more above others and taking that time to reflect, as always, journal, whatever, that's going to really make you identify like, wow, I actually really, really, really like this one. Or perhaps I'm not really comfortable with, let's say, physical touch. I don't enjoy it. It's, it perhaps triggers something or sets off some kind of alarm. Okay, fine. But also know that so you can communicate that because if somebody else doesn't really know how to show you love outside of that physical touch, you need to be able to say that. But also, if you do realize, let's say in this case, on the contrary, physical touch is your favorite, and you notice like, wow, I should really let my partner know how important it is. How important it is for me to get a hug whenever I come home from work.
Right.
If you're home, I want you to, like, that's a standing kind of, I don't want to say rule, like it's enforced. It's quite a joy to do it, but we respect each other enough to where whoever gets home and the other person's already home, you maybe pause whatever you're doing.
Yeah.
If you're washing the dishes, turn off the water for a second. Acknowledge that they're home, that you're happy to see them. If you're watching a show, pause it.
Right. Get up and give them a hug.
Give them a hug.
whatever.
Hey, I'm so happy you're home.
Yeah.
This place is supposed to be your sanctuary. So that part of it is like a non-negotiable for me, because it really makes you feel grounded. It helps you transition from the busy work day to, I'm home. And somebody's here that loves me. And I don't have to, if I'm an anxious person, I don't have to worry like, oh, are they mad at me? Whatever. Yes, you have disagreements. You might have things, but it doesn't change the fact that I love you and I'm happy that you're home, regardless of what problems may also be happening simultaneously.
Yeah, this is maybe a little personal, but like, let's say me and my husband have an argument or a disagreement the night before, like, maybe even like it's not about not going to sleep angry, but for us, it's about waking. Like when he gets up earlier than me, he is going to give me a hug regardless of what happened the other night or whatever. He's going to give me a hug before he leaves, no matter what. Right. And that shows me that, yes, we might not be in the best of terms right now.
Or
like maybe
aligned on
there's
something.
something, off, but I know that he still loves me and he cares about me and he wants us to be a unit, right? Like we're still a unit at the end of the day, right? So that piece is really important, is to be able to show each other that you are important.
Even though I might not be super happy with you right now, I still love you and I'm here and we're going to work through whatever disagreements or challenges we're experiencing. Yes, 100%.
Exactly. So really important to pay attention, and also equally as important to like either state literally directly, this is what I like, or show them. Like, let's say, using the example of coming home, maybe in the beginning of the relationship, or maybe when you first start dating or whatever, you're
Or
not
move
maybe
in together.
move in together. Maybe that's not happening. You're like sitting there like, man, why isn't he coming to me when he comes home? Or why is this happening? And you're just creating that anxiety, right? Versus like, you could get up and you could show them that this is what you like, this is what you want. And eventually, once you show them or tell them directly, they'll know, right?
Right.
So maybe they can have the opportunity to implement that. Maybe they didn't realize. Maybe they've never done that before. Maybe they've never seen that before with their parents or something, right? Like,
And
maybe
instead
that's
of harboring resentment.
right. You actually show them, or you directly tell them that this is what I like. So,
And it's important to me. Like, this is something that is true. Like, anytime in couples counseling, that is something that I pass along as a, like, not a coping mechanism, but ultimately strategy. Thank you. Lost the word there. But strategy, because this is going to be your first interaction for the rest of the night.
Right.
Why wouldn't you want it to be positive and a reminder, a grounding technique to say, hey, we're in this together. We're going to figure whatever it is out, whatever struggles, whatever, maybe something traumatic happened that is causing a rift between you, whatever. But ultimately, if you're still part of this relationship, then make that known. So that very first interaction, before you have dinner, before you make dinner, before you take your showers or do whatever other things you have that night, you've now regrouped and you've made that connection. So it just makes it so much easier to then be vulnerable and say, hey, here's something that's really important to me. Hey, can you do more of this? This is really important to me. I really enjoy this. I really feel like it's missing. And then you have that conversation. They may or may not be able to provide that for you, but at least you won't be sitting there in your own anxieties and resenting and being angry. You actually have the words to be able to say it.
You're actively doing something to maybe change the situation if it's not fitting exactly, into what you want or need in certain situations, right? And it kind of makes me think, as you were talking, for those people that have kids, right? Like, when you come home, a lot of the time, the kids go to you and they're like, oh, daddy or mommy are home or whatever, right? And sometimes like that moment can get away from you. So just thinking about, like, the kids are obviously very important, but it's the relationship that sort of holds
the whole unit together,
everything
100%.
together, right?
Yep.
So if you're just like focused more on the kids all the time and you're not acknowledging your partner, eventually that's going to catch up to you.
Y'all.
Right.
Unit.
Both.
Yeah.
Both of
absolutely.
you. Right.
It's
so
important
just
to
making
have
those
intentions.
Exactly. Making those small tweaks and having the intention that, like, I love our kids. I love all of this that's happening right as I walk through the door. But hey, honey, come here and give me a hug or whatever, right? That's important to me also.
Yeah, 100%. And it's funny because I saw a TikTok of like a little couple skit where one of the people gets home and then the first thing is they acknowledge all the pets, they give all the pets all the kisses, and then it's like, oh, okay, hello, husband.
Right.
And it's like, okay, cool. But also, where's that message of, I respect you, you're my priority. I'm sorry, but that's it has to be at the top of the list, because this is, and every single thing that you do is a little investment that you're making towards the strength of this relationship.
Right. Exactly.
Why would you not choose to show each other that respect, that love, that priority, solidify that connection that you have, reassure each other, validate each other that everything's okay. You can feel safe.
Right. Exactly. I think part of the love languages, right, is what is underneath all that is like the safety feeling, right? You feel safe, you feel cared for, you feel paid attention to, right? Appreciated, right? All of those good things that all of these 5 kind of make you feel or elicit, right, in your relationship.
Yeah, truly. Take the challenge, think about them, look them up, see what applies to you. Right. And you can even, Valentine's Day is coming up, right?
Yeah.
So you can even take the time on the day of love to be like, hey, let's really take a second to talk about this. Like, what do you enjoy the most? What's your favorite? Like, maybe you've never even asked that of yourself or of your partner. And to be able to have that might open up your eyes to something you didn't even realize that could be so necessary and crucial to the strength of your relationship in the future.
Right, exactly. And even if you're a couple that doesn't care about Valentine's Day, it doesn't matter. they're out there, right?
no,
Like
for
I
sure.
care about Valentine's Day. I'll be the first person to say that, husband. But some don't, and that's okay. But it doesn't have to be like on Valentine's Days. I'm going to sit down and talk about this on your next 5 minutes that you have together, on your next date, on your next drive to the store, right?
Yeah.
Like talk about this, and maybe you'll learn something about your partner, and that's important.
Yeah.